All right, what's your name and where you from?
I'm Sia, I'm from Northwest London. I live in South London now though.
Talk to me about what life was like growing up in Northwest.
Yeah, Northwest was a crazy place when I was growing up. I grew up around a lot of gangs, a lot of murder, a lot of separation between like families, a different kind of culture, definitely.
Yeah. How do you think that impacted the way that you just perceived life at the time?
I think I was desensitized to crime from a young age. I was desensitized to murder. I was desensitized to what I would now see as like bad things. But also it made me quite resilient. I guess like growing up in Northwest, you kind of don't really have an option either like to stand strong or you're going to be defeated. So yeah, it kind of made me resilient from a young age.
Yeah. Talk to me about what life was like inside your home.
So I had both parents for a period of time, and then my parents got divorced. Can't remember exactly how old I was. I think I might have been around 10, 11. And that was quite a bad divorce. And I know for a period of time, like, they were kind of, I guess, both fighting for my love. But my dad, the real G that he is, he decided to move just across the road from my mum. And so I guess because I knew they didn't talk and they didn't really like each other at the time, I ended up kind of playing them, not against each other, but to my advantage, if that makes sense. My mum was strict, my dad wasn't. And so, yeah, I kind of spiraled, I think, as a result of them getting divorced.
So you still had a relationship with both of them, but they just weren't in the same household. So talk to me a bit more about the spiraling. What did that look like?
Yeah, so my dad, like I said, my dad was very laid back. He still is quite laid back. My mum is heavily in the church. She always has been. And so for her, everything was very spiritual. Bad behavior was like, you just need to go to church, you just need to pray, where my dad was the complete opposite. And I think with a combination of like my parents being divorced, just being from where I'm from, I ended up getting excluded from school in year 8. As a result of fighting. It ended up being like this massive fight. Those are the days of like Pixel, MySpace, and the school made it seem like I was a threat, you know, because it was something that was publicized on the internet. And I think from there it just got it probably just got worse because I ended up having to move to Hemel Hempstead, which was predominantly white at the time, to live with my dad and my stepmom and her children. And yeah, I just felt like I was out of place. I was coming from a school in Wembley. It was all black. Everybody was from the hood. A lot of us had gone primary school together. And then I moved somewhere where I was the only black girl in my class, one of 3 black girls in my year. And I just hated life. I hated life, and it was showing itself in the way I was behaving.
Yeah. What exactly do you think happened for that anger to kind of start to flesh out?
I feel like I was misunderstood by my family, if I'm honest. I feel like I was misunderstood. I feel like I wasn't heard. I feel like my parents were going through their own issues and they were working out life. And so I kind of was just somewhere in the middle of that, I guess. And like, I absolutely think my parents loved me and I think they did, you know, their best. But I think at the time, my mum was consumed with church and my dad was consumed with navigating life after a divorce, and then new marriage and etc. I feel like I just felt unseen and unheard. And I don't think I was acting out deliberately to get attention. I just think I was just a product of my environment as well. Like Stonebridge in the 90s, 2000s, like, yeah, it was a crazy place to live in. Like I remember coming home one day after school and there was police outside my block. It was called Clark Court and it was all cordoned off. And I was like, oh, I live here, I need to go in. And they were like, someone's been shot above you in the property above. And that man that lived above, he used to leak, like water used to leak all the time down. So my mum used to go up there and they used to get into it. But there was a shooting there and they shot everyone in the property apart from a newborn baby that they left on the bed. And I remember not feeling like, oh my God, I'm so scared. I was just like, oh, okay, but can I go home? Like that was Stonebridge, that was Northwest London. So yeah, I feel like a combination of all those things just kind of molded me into who I was.
I wanted to just know a little bit more about the time when you moved into your time that you moved into your dad's home with your stepmom and her children. What was that like? Because it's a whole new environment with different people in. Like, what was that like?
Yeah, do you know what? My stepsister at the time, we're still close now, but she was, I think, she's like maybe 2 years below me. So I think it was great because I had a sister that I never had. I was the only child from my mum and dad growing up in the house. So for that part of things, it was really good. But it was also difficult seeing or feeling like maybe I had to share my dad to some degree. And also, I just didn't want to be there. I didn't want to be in Hertfordshire. I didn't want to be the only black girl, and I wanted to be with my mum. And it sometimes felt like they have their mum and I don't have mine. So that was a really difficult time. And I think I probably don't speak about that as much as I probably should. But I think going to therapy made me kind of like work through a lot of resentment that was sitting in my chest from that, definitely.
Seeing your parents split up, did that affect the way that you saw your relationships, or did it have any impact on your relationships?
Do you know what? I don't think that. I don't think it did. You know, I think if I'm honest, what I think impacted the way I navigated relationships as I grew up was the environment, like the type of men that I was surrounded by growing up in my area. When I got older, those were the kind of men that I still gravitated towards, because I just wasn't really exposed to. I wasn't coming home and seeing a corporate man, like maybe 1 in 20, but how many people from my area, from my estate went to uni, like that I knew? My older brother, my dad sent him back to Sierra Leone, and thank God he did, because my brother's now, he works for the government in Sierra Leone, but he got out. Most of his friends are dead or in jail or winging it, do you know what I mean? So I feel like, yeah, growing up in that environment kind of made me navigate. As I got older, I kept gravitating to those same kind of men, even though my mind, I guess, was growing and I was growing in age, but my mind was still kind of stuck to those behaviors, the things that were familiar to me.
Yeah. So I mean, how do you get to the point where you're like, okay, maybe some of the guys that I've been with just aren't the right person for me, or the person that I should be with? How do you get to that point where you're kind of like, okay, I need to look for something different?
I got married and then divorced, and I thought, see you, get it together, girl. I think after I got divorced, I had to go to therapy, because I really needed to work out, like, this is a pattern of behavior. And at some point, irrespective of how dirty you've been done, you have to take accountability for the choices that you are making, especially when you're bringing children into the world. So I went to therapy, and I was able to unpack, like, where this was coming from. And yeah, as a result of that, I kind of like actively now like make the right choices when I'm engaging with men, I guess. Like, if I'm gonna date someone, what is it that I'm trying to get out of this? Does it make sense, long term or short term? And then, yeah, making safer and better decisions, but actively not gravitating towards men that I know are not good for where I'm at in life.
Can I ask you about the divorce and what happened?
Yeah, of course, can.
That's the question.
I got divorced as a result of what I would say was extremely bad narcissistic abuse. Yeah, I got married to someone who's very abusive, both verbally, psychologically. And yeah, I got to a point where I just thought, what's going on, Sia? Do you know what I mean? So I left when I actually completely fled from that marriage when I was about 7 months pregnant. And I had to start life all over again. I gave up my property because the property was extremely damaged due to the violence. I couldn't stay there, it wasn't safe. I was contracting at the time, so obviously I was about to give birth. I had to stop contracting and I wasn't working. I obviously didn't have any like maternity pay because it was a contract, so I literally started life again from scratch. I had used all my savings to move out. It was a really horrible time, really, really horrible. And I guess like going through that, don't get me wrong, after the fact, and I think that's the thing with abuse, right? After the fact, you still kind of try, or you think, oh, did I make the right decision? You've been gaslit for a long time. You second guess your decisions. You don't know whether you're thinking the right thing. It's a horrible thing. But yeah, I just thought, you're better than this. And I didn't want my girls to grow up and think that this is normal. So yeah, I filed for divorce on my first anniversary.
Yeah. I know you mentioned earlier that you obviously went through therapy after the divorce, but do you think if you had gone through therapy before the divorce, maybe you would have avoided the relationship?
Oh, 100%,
Yeah.
100%. I think if I had done therapy at the right time, then I would have made better choices after the fact. Because as much as I say, he was abusive, but I also made a decision to be with that person. And that decision was very crazy, very mad. Like, I always say that I tripped and fell into the marriage, because like, that's literally what, when I look back, I'm like, it doesn't make any sense. So yeah, therapy will help you make better informed decisions and clear the trauma so you can operate from a place of sense and not trauma.
Yeah. What's it like knowing the fact that if you had done therapy before, maybe there would have been certain things that you could have avoided, but then also the fact that you still birthed a wonderful daughter out of that situation. So it's kind of like, okay, if I had avoided it, she probably wouldn't have been here. But then now you're enjoying the fact that she is.
I think it's a juxtaposition. So when I first went to therapy, I was very guilty about the fact that I made, I don't want to use the word mistake because she's not a mistake, but I made an active choice to have a child with somebody that I probably knew it was going to end up the way it ended up, right? And so those are the points where I felt like, darn, should have gone earlier. But I think also everything happens for a reason, right? And although there was some terrible things that happened as a result of that divorce, there's some amazing things that happened. For the first time in a very long time, after that divorce, I was able to access permanent housing. I had never been permanent. I had been privately renting for 10 years, moving around with my daughter every other year, which was so destabilizing. And I didn't realize how much it was destabilizing her. So there's positive things that came out of it. And my daughter is one of them, you know. I look at her now and I just think, yeah, man. Yeah.
How do you think everything that you've been through has shaped the way that you are as a mother?
I'm a real bad girl. I'm joking. No, I'm joking. Yeah, I'm a G. Like, and I say that proudly. Like, I'm a G. Like, I don't take for granted like what I did and how difficult it is to do. I'm a G because I did it with kids. I'm a G because I got back up and kept fighting. I'm a G because I said, yeah, like, this person has hurt me, has harmed me, has broken my heart, has ruined my life right now, but it's not going to stop me from getting back up and fighting. And not everybody's able to do that. Granted, I have an amazing village as well, so that really helps. But yeah, I'm a G in real life, and I believe that. So yeah, I think every bad thing what's the scripture? There's a scripture, Jeremiah 29:11, I think it is. But yeah, every bad thing is essentially what it says can be made for good, and God has plans of good and not evil for you. So even when, you know, that was happening and a lot of people were just like, oh, she's going to be this, or she's going to be that, or she's just going to be a baby mom, or she's just going to be I said, absolutely not. We going to make it and take it to the top.
What do you think gave you that hope?
I think Christ, honestly, Christ, like, yo, I was down and out. Like, I was out for the count, mate. Like, literally, I remember calling my cousin one day when I couldn't get back into my industry. I went back after 5 months. I was trying to go back after 5 months. I couldn't get back in. And I was just like, I haven't even been out for that long. And I lost everything. I lost my car. I lost literally everything. I said to my cousin, I'm at that point. God, take the wheel. And literally, I said, if I don't get a job by May, so help me God. And literally by May, and that's the best job that I've ever had in my whole career. I'm still in that company now. They love me, I love them. We locked in. Give me more money, but we locked in. So yeah, it's Christ. And I honestly, Christ and my kids, like, when you have children, you don't really have a choice. And I say that, but some people do, you know what I'm saying? But for me, it was just like, I've got girls. I need them to, first of all, show me the money. But I need them to see, you know, like, this is life. Things happen, do you know what I mean? And it's all about how you get back up and how you turn it around.